This valley, this particular group gets along pretty well and can accomplish stuff well. Sometimes the councils aren't quite as accommodating to each other, and we've been working together a long time, and I think we get along great. So. Before we close the public hearing, any other comments? My last word would be if people are still interested, come to the next few meetings. We'll still be discussing some of these finer points. If not, the chair will entertain a motion to close the public hearing and go back into regular session.
So moved.
Second. First and second discussion.
I'm wondering if we should continue the public in our next meeting. So that some of these folks that didn't hear about this will hear about it.
I think we'll need to have a couple more.
Yeah, and as we draft things, we'll get it out to you, it'll be available.
So we had some discussion. We did have a motion in a second. We'd like to withdraw your motion and continue it.
What was my motion?
Make a motion that we continue.
For you there.
To the next month?
To the next month.
Okay. So if any of you folks that are leaving know anybody else, we're going to continue this public hearing next month and have the same subject matter and take even more notes. Thank you. Appreciate it.
How can we get more information out to the non-business owners that might be affected by some of these other businesses?
You know, besides our regular posting and our webpage, I mean, the webpage is going to have that.
But well, a lot of people don't.
I agree.
I completely disagree with what we.
Well, she brought up and we have it written down, so social media might be another step, but some people don't even do that as well, and there's lots of old folks, and I get it, that we have a little older population that will never get this stuff unless someone talks to them, and I don't have an
I
answer.
don't know.
I can't send letters to them all.
I do, Hugh. We screwed up. We should not have just sent this to the business owners. That was horrible. Bordering probably on illegal. So the only way I think we can fix it is to send a message to every person who lives in Daniel and let them know at the next meeting. It's not fair. It's going to cost us money, but it's the only fair way to do it.
You have to facilitate like that kind of a meeting too.
What's that?
You have to facilitate that kind of a meeting.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
No way we're gonna put everybody in here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Might have to have a senior
There's a
center.
parking lot.
Parking
lot party.
At this point, we had we pulled the motion and we had another motion to continue. Do we have a second to continue?
Yeah.
We have a second to continue. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Thanks, you.
Public hearing will be continued. Do we have a motion to get back into regular session?
Make a motion to get back into regular session.
Second?
Yeah.
We have a motion, first and a second to get back into regular session. All in favor? Aye. Public hearing closed. We're back in regular session.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Had some tonight, all?
Yeah, all right.
Good job. I didn't see one torch or one pitchfork.
They were in the hallway.
They got left until they needed, more needed. Let's see, let me get to my agenda. So it'd be number 5, an update on 3000 South alignment annexation into Daniel. So I don't know if anyone had heard, but there was an application that was provided or presented to the town of Daniel. We had accepted it. It was pulled as of today. It was pulled. That would be the update on that annexation. Any questions or comments?
Was pulled by the property owner?
Yes.
Wanted to annex it today.
Down on 3,000. He may come back.
Any questions? If not, we'll move on to number 6. Stormhaven water matters is needed. Usually we have either one or two gentlemen here that can usually address that as far as what we're doing as a town to have any issues. Is there anybody that hears from there that is from Stormhaven that is having issues?
Oh, no, actually, things have been going pretty smoothly, I would like to say.
Thank you.
You just wanted to knock on.
They're going better than they were 3 years ago?
Oh, immensely better than 3 years ago, yes.
Good.
However, I mean, our power outages are still affected. We get a small trickle. But it's better. It's much better.
That's what we wanted to hear. We knew we took on a big project and hopefully slowly, if not sooner, should get better and
We would love to have updates on that though,
As in,
as in something other than coming to the meetings.
Would minutes from the meetings work, or do you want something more?
Updates on what you guys are doing in our neighborhood, pertaining to water, pertaining to anything really.
How could we do that for you?
Social media. I told Eric I would help.
Okay.
She's on the.
Well, there we
It's
go.
on
It's on the camera.
But we're on YouTube.
I've sent a few emails. I've talked to
It's on
Mary
YouTube. I
and
just-
to
All of you.
Kim multiple times about me helping with that.
Oh, great. Thank
So-
you.
I have a file that maybe,
Just to point out, all these meetings are on YouTube,
oh,
so,
who would ever know that?
you do now. Yeah.
people that come to meetings and actually ask questions and things, and we can't shove it down their throat.
But we ought to post that. Does it mention that on our website?
I don't
I've
know.
never seen it on there.
We ought to mention that there's.
We could have a link, we
Doesn't
could,
because
you know, we could have a
I
link.
can't get a clear answer on, here's where you go to find it. I myself have tried to find meetings for Daniel Utah.
I can show you how to do that, actually.
So
I'll find it in
you
5
sh-
seconds and email it to you.
That would be good, and then that's what I'll
You know what
post
you're
on the
doing,
website.
because we're all old and we miss the curve.
That's why somebody like me can really help you guys with this social media thing, to get the word out to these people.
There's your planning commission.
There you go.
No, I'm not.
She just said she doesn't want to come to the meeting.
It's only one,
I
it's
mean,
one
I'm like
line.
looking at my watch like I need to go put the kids in bed, so.
It's a good, you know, it's a good, I'm glad you brought it up, it's something that has kind of been discussed and probably, would probably be good to implement and.
Really help you guys.
Bring your kids, it might learn
It could be a problem.
I even talked to Chris on the phone. Who's Chris?
He's the computer guy.
Yeah,
Neither are
I
you.
talked to him.
On the phone?
Yeah.
So there's no social media.
No, he needs my help.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Basically.
No.
I would imagine we'd probably be discussing this a little bit further.
Yeah. Hopefully I can get to the next one. But I gotta go now. Put kids in
Thank
bed.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right.
So,
That was number 6, Stormhaven.
so do we, are you talking about the samples?
No,
Okay.
if there was a problem, I would, but
Well, that's what I thought you were.
Yeah, me neither.
The next item is number 7, Daniel, municipal water issues as necessary, including continued discussion on personal wages and increase, and we don't have those people here, so that personal wage increase will, well, I assume we want to continue that again. You want to discuss that?
Let's just continue it.
I'll make a motion to continue it.
Continue the
The wage
item again,
increase.
the wage increase. We have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That's it. And number 8, business licenses and applicants, business license applicants, excuse me. I'll turn the time over to Eric, and you can take care of that.
Okay, we have 2 applicants. They are for renewal. We don't have new, these are both renewals. And so we have Tender Touch Massage and Dr. Fix-It. They're both sent in there.
Dr. Fixes, what do they fix?
Handyman,
Oh,
well, Sweden.
Okay, Eric, I have a question on that.
Yes.
They're the ones that are paid for those, correct?
Pardon?
They're the ones that are paid now and caught up?
They just, yeah, those are the checks that I've received.
Okay, you have not heard anything from Simpson Fence?
I just got it. It's right there.
Yes. I just
That's
heard
it.
something.
Just did.
Didn't
You heard
I?
something? I just heard something over my back shoulder
He
too.
just handed it to me.
He just handed it, okay. Because that one was getting ready to go into foreclosure, I don't know what you call it. To shut it down because we hadn't received the check.
Notice of violation.
So that's
Okay.
good.
Yeah, so I'll copy the check onto his permit and get it to you.
And then you'll give me, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you.
So we have those two.
My name is
Same side,
Shelley.
though.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He's awesome.
Really?
Is that like that?
So that, yeah, thank you very much.
So you can go ahead and process a renewal license.
Anything
for
on,
Simpson.
so once again, our water folks aren't here to bring up any, but I don't know of anything with Daniel Municipal Water. Does anybody else have any news that they need to share?
You went backwards.
What's that?
Go ahead. Back there. Eric, can you go ahead and process a business license for Simpson Fence then?
You're right.
If you just
If
received the
these
check?
guys vote to do that, I will.
To do what now? Didn't hear that.
Process Simpson Fence also within that group.
He just paid his check, is what he's saying, but we
So
don't
you
have
have
a
the two
license.
certificates, but if you include that, I will process Simpson Fence.
So we need a
We need a
motion.
motion or a vote? We didn't normally have it, didn't you?
Nope, I just want an okay from the council to process it.
Okay.
Process it, okay.
Did you need to see that from Daniel?
Danielle?
Brought it back up, Daniel, your water. It just says we have good drinking water.
Oh, it usually always does, so I don't really kinda have,
Yes, you do, Red, if it's.
yeah, usually it's, we
Minimal
got great water for the
amounts.
most part. Sometimes a test, a flake of dust might get in there and throw a test off. We do a second test and it always comes back, we've got great water.
We have the minimal chlorine that can be added to the water
And for those
to
folks,
get away with from the feds.
for those folks that know,
Nothing
Daniel
bad.
Municipal has a chlorinated system, Storm Haven does not. Sooner or later, they are going to look at that issue with Storm Haven's water. That's about where we're at.
Have they wanted a bigger tank for Storm Haven?
There's all sorts of plans to try to increase, I mean, those tanks is probably the most important, it's just dollars and how we assess that and all those things. But there's certainly there's a 5, 10, 15-year plan, and it has to do with grants, and we're getting grants, so we're not paying back versus putting all of it on shoulders of residents and or Storm Haven, so.
Would, if you did expand the tank, would the gallons go up? Would the rate of our?
We need to have a
water go
bigger
up?
tank to have more gallons go up for folks. Right now, it's quite honestly, it's amazing the amount of gallons. I'm more than stunned, and I use those words very carefully, how much water that little well's producing in the volume that's going through the meters right now. That well was never even designed for commercial use, let alone 46 houses or however many houses are on there. But obviously it would work.
We need to increase both the storage and the source of the well before we can increase the volume.
What's the capacity, current capacity right now, storage, water storage?
20,000 gallons, or about 2 hours at peak demand.
20,000, that's it?
Yeah.
There are some big water users on that system, Humming Bays.
And the well's limited to about 30, 40 gallons a minute, which if we look at the water use, I think it averages like 25 and the well is 30, so.
Could it possibly be that the system still has issues and there were some leaks in the area, right?
Oh, there's more than those possibilities. We're all aware of all the
Because there's
possibilities.
a lot of water, so.
And there is, and
Yes.
so we're trying to, if there's even a remote tick, we're trying to deal with it, so there's not a big tick, so.
Yeah.
Daniel's tank is what, 900,000, so it's just under a mil.
But one of my questions is, so if you make a bigger tank and we have more water available, will our rates go up? Or are they gonna, because we pay quite a bit of money right now.
You do, and your system is what it is. If there were bigger tanks and a bigger system, then you get into grants and you get into also bonds. And if that would come into a public hearing like this, and you guys would be here, and it's gonna be doing our rates to go to $60 a household to help pay for this bond, to put that bigger tank in for the more water usage. And most people aren't wanting to pay that $60 a month water fee or more.
Well, if it was 60 with the higher gallons, it would balance out somewhere. I mean, we're at 8,000 gallons right now with the base rate, which is not very much water.
It's not.
So, I would hate, if you left it at that rate and you gave us more gallons, but you also raised the rate, then we're kind of right where we're at still.
Well, and once again, if the system can handle it, we want to build a system that's going to be used and have plenty of room for future use. And that would all be part of the discussion for sure.
And we're gathering data with the new meters we put in, so we're gathering data on usage and peak demands, and all that data is being compiled, because we just didn't have that data.
Right, yeah, you guys would.
There was data, but it just wasn't maybe quite as accurate as it possibly could have been maybe or something. So we're trying to do our own data collection.
Because we're government, we bought it before we got the data.
That answers your question.
It did.
And I did back up, Daniel, so business licenses, are we done with that?
Business license, yes.
So moving on to number 9, a discussion on Jet Zeus building permit.
Yes. Okay, that passed through planning, and we had some issues regarding the septic setbacks on this permit. We had some discussion of planning about how far these septic fields have to be. According to our code, it needs to be 200 feet
200 feet.
separation between septic drain fields.
Okay, yeah.
So if you'll remember, these lots we're talking about is the one that was recorded prior to the town being established. So now we have issues.
What street's that, 600 or?
It's on Mill Road.
Mill Road, okay.
Yeah, clear at the end there.
That's right.
Good. Okay.
And so we've got several. Ryan will give you his deal. Hold on. I'm gonna go over here and draw on board.
So they relocated the house, didn't they?
Eric's a good artist here, so we'll be able to.
Yeah, this will really leave you confused. So we have the lots on this subdivision. So this would be Mill Road. This would be Little Sweden.
Okay.
Okay, the lots are subdivided like this. Is there 5?
4, and that includes the one with the house.
Okay, so there's 4. This one's big.
Yeah, it is
Is
now.
the way I drew
You
it.
just drew it big.
So what we have is we have a house that's proposed to be built on this lot
Yes.
with a septic system on this side is where they've drawn it. So this would be the house. What we have here is how many feet, Ryan, do we got?
They've managed to move it a little bit, but it's 100, about 70 feet.
About 70 feet. The reason I stopped this is because if we require 200 foot of separation, I believe this one should be at 100 and this one should be at 100 to achieve our goal of 200 feet of separation. Our code doesn't speak to first come, first serve. So I think that actually puts a bias on and it would hold this lot hostage to where they could butt theirs without the same.
So in writing, as far as code is currently, if one of those lot owners meets every bit of our code, does that lot owner get held up because the other lot owner may or may not get sold, or may get sold, or could get sold, and then isn't it?
All these lots are sold.
They're all sold.
They're all sold, so they all have owners.
And so, let's say one builds, and now currently it's proposed, and would the next person just have to keep it 200 feet away from the other septic and?
Right,
their
in other
responsibility?
words, these guys would have to go their 100 plus the 30, but this 70 is too close, so it'd have to be 130.
Well, or they can move it back, or they.
Well, wherever they move it, it has to be 130 feet away from us.
Correct.
And so that's why I held it up, is because of this, where it's not equally. And this is, we're gonna have a lot of this, because we have a lot of the lots that aren't 5 acres. If we have a 5 acre lot, this isn't an issue. Well, it could be an issue, but it's usually not.
We touched on it in-
It was one. It is
where you
now.
don't put an equal burden on each lot. So another option would be is if they could give a easement from the neighbor saying, this is fine, because we're not gonna build this. Okay, it doesn't limit us, but.
Or could it be in the back behind the house?
Yeah, but it's their choice, and we shouldn't limit them by putting this closer to the line than dividing it halfway.
And that was my thought, so I held it up. Ryan, we differed on opinion, so here's Ryan.
So my counter opinion is the code says they have to be 200 feet apart. It doesn't say anything about the property line. It just says 200 feet apart. Now, I think what we meant to say was 200 feet apart and 100 feet from any property line. But we didn't write, that's not what we wrote down. And so it just says 200 feet apart. And right now, he's 200 feet apart. And when the next house comes in, we'll review it and make sure he's 200 feet apart. And basically, he can,
Right here.
there is a radius here.
Since it's so much fun to change code, this may be another meeting to put on wood.
There's a little bit here, and depending on what this neighbor does, there'll be a little bit here and a little, and it trickles down. Anytime we don't have, the problem with the 100 foot is this whole lot is 201 feet, I think. So this dimension is 201, and it tapers down really quick. By the time we hit the setback, he doesn't have 200 feet, so you can't physically build it 100 feet away from a property line.
Yeah, but so this guy comes and builds and puts his septic here, and now all of a sudden this guy
This
can't
guy's
even put a house on
unbuildable.
it.
No, he has to put it back here.
See why I stopped it?
But, for discussion only, and I see why you stopped it, but that next person could put it back and still achieve his goal.
Maybe. I don't know what's
Okay,
back
you're
there.
right,
Perk
maybe.
test, I mean, there's just so many factors. That's why I just thought they could share the burden equally and.
Can he switch his house and septic, Ryan, and be okay?
No, because if he puts it on the other side, it's within 200 feet of a septic, or a well. So there's something over there that's already impeding on his ability to do that.
So can it be worked out with the other neighbor?
We can require that, or ask him to, we can ask
I
him to
think
do the
that's
easement.
another option, if that neighbor says, yeah, it's no big deal, and get something signed, great.
So are we basically saying this guy can't build on his house right now?
So that's my concern, is
I have not issued a permit.
And we have the person here that would like to speak to it.
You own
Yes.
this little
I'm a
train.
builder for the people that bought the lot, the Seuss's, that are from Daniels and building there. And I,
You just stand, well, let's give it to Ryan, or
So anyway, I see Eric's point, and it makes sense that, you know, if you've got to have 200-foot separation, you should be 100 feet from the property line, and then you're not infringing on anybody. All these lots that are less than 5 acres, I argue 4.5 might be okay, but these smaller lots that are grandfathered in or otherwise already exist, this is maybe the first of the most recent issue, but it's far from the last.
How wide are the other lots?
200 feet.
200 feet.
who established the 200 feet?
That was back in 1976, 78, when they subdivided little parcels. Oh, you mean, sorry,
Well,
who decides 200 feet?
What does the state division of water quality say? I don't think they say 200
that's why they
feet.
moved to 5 acres when the county moved back, I think, was it 97 or whatever, they moved it, and they said septic tanks at that time, you needed 5 acres to keep the water purity.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that was copied from the
Pristine
Wasatch County Code
pristine
of
classification.
2006. That it was still in the Wasatch County
See, I
Code.
don't think I got mine.
That was before wherever
Done
town.
100, yeah, mine was done before their town, and I'm.
Wasatch County code is 10 feet from property line.
Sideline.
For a septic?
Septic, 10 feet, 10 feet, they can be 20 feet apart.
For the
And you only have to be
drain
100 feet from a well or any water source, so 200 feet away
So
from
Lynn
the
needs to get
septic
your name
system.
and stuff, so,
Okay.
you know, as soon as Ryan's done, well,
Hey,
I want to hear
thanks,
from you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
They've modified, this was their original plot.
Oh, this is the
No,
original,
they-
okay.
Are they being hooked up on culinary water or what?
Culinary.
Culinary, okay, so I
Yeah,
just
so it's
got
kind
that
of
out.
30, almost as long as
Appreciate you coming down.
They'll do what they could.
Yeah. So, since this board is the one that decided that the document that they approved, the lot, that we would honor those lots that the county did, we have to fix it.
I'd suggest we have the guy try to get a release or something from his neighbor, saying, hey, go ahead and put it there. You think
Now,
that's
these
something
two-
reasonable?
Mayor, do you want to hear from?
Yeah, I do want to
I'll
hear.
get up and show you what I got
Fine,
real
right.
quick, and I think I can change my mind that
yeah,
way.
come back up, Ryan's done, and state your name for the record, so, and then just,
Okay, my name's Blake Hound, I'm the builder for Jed Seuss, and they bought that lot, wanted to place a house up on it. It is already approved through Tracy, through Wasatch County Septic System Design and Location, whether that matters to you guys or not. But in Wasatch County, you can have it 10 feet from your property line. And the other neighbor can be 10 feet from his property line. So the septic systems can be close by each other. There's no need to keep them 200 feet apart from each other. The minimum setback from a well or a water source is only 100 feet. So if someone's got a well here, you've only got to be 100 feet from their system with that. So why there's 200 feet separation, I don't know. I think they meant to keep one per 200 feet by 200 or something to keep it limited. But once you've got the lot and got it there, there's lots of subdivisions that share septic systems that are big system for 5 lots or something there. So I don't understand this 200 foot range, but I can show you on this still. I've got no other options.
It's been,
Thank you. Because right here, there's already another lot and another house, and this house sits like right here, and their septic system is here. So I've took and looked, and it puts me out about like this. So my only options is right here on the lot. So I did look and take into consideration what they had, so I figured if we put ours here, like you're saying, that puts a little span like this. This still leaves 3/4 of his entire lot where he can put his septic system on. It's not limiting the next guy to put his house anywhere, to put his septic anywhere. He can put his septic here, he can put it here, he can put it here. This next guy, the same thing, if he puts his, let's say he puts his up here, Then you come out into here, this guy's still got the rest of this where he can put his. It's never gonna limit and keep this guy way down the building. I'm already limited to what I can do. I can't slide it over. I can't put it in this corner. Sure, I can put mine up here, but all that does is put this out here. Why is that any better than where I've got it? Your average home is not gonna put it out in front of their homes. 90% of your homes is gonna put it in the back of their homes. So by putting mine right up here, pretty well leaves this lot open 3/4 of the way. I'm not impeding anything or any right to build, but the odds of me going in and him getting something to sign it is gonna be no, because if he owns this lot, why are you gonna impede and let anybody put any type of infraction over your lot if you're gonna sell it or do something with it? But if your code says I gotta be 200 feet from his system, I am 200 feet from his system, and I have taken effect of this other lot and left it as wide open as it can be. There is no other place to put it that gives him an option to come up the side. We thought it's kind of more like a Utah shape, and it leaves this whole thing open for him to put his inside of it. So I don't know what else you'd expect me to do other than change it or something, but I think it needs to say that they don't need to be 200 feet apart. Maybe you want one system limited to 3 acres or something like that with a 200-foot rule. I don't understand or see why you're set to go straight down.
What was the old rule? It was 10 feet or something from that?
Well, the county allows 10 foot from the property line. We've actually had to stop construction on 3 projects where the septic system was approved right next to the well. You remember over in, so we've stopped a couple of those because they just don't know what's there, what's on site. Is that an accurate portrayal of your property, Jay, your septic?
It's close.
It's close. So the neighbor to this side is here.
Okay.
So what kind of septic are you putting in? Are you putting in the old standard septic tank and drain field? Or are you
Yeah.
putting in one of the new?
We might do an alternate system, which you put in the baffles, and that just lowers your amount of leach field. But we've got the option of doing
So then you use less space.
exactly, put in a smaller space.
The problem I see is the code's kind of the code, and you can't really change it right now.
But what does your code say?
It says the 200 feet, right, Eric?
From other septic systems, and I
Yeah.
need that, 100%. It doesn't say
So-
from any property
So
line or anything.
I see that. The only thing I see that we can maybe do that I think might work best is if you at least try to approach the guy and say, hey, would you be willing to sign this? And if not, then maybe we look at it again.
I think, you know, when I'm talking from the position that I would absolutely love it if we said, okay, well, that's not a buildable lot. You know, happy day, I don't have a neighbor in my driveway. But the code says he only has to be 200 feet from the other septic. He's 200 feet from mine. There isn't another septic in that area until you get clear down to the log house on the corner. So he meets code. He can proceed. I mean, yes, I think in the future, we should make sure that that burden is shared equally.
And see, and that's Ryan too. He has that same.
Yeah,
I think
I
in the
think we
future, you ought to
should.
get rid of your 200-foot spacing.
Well, some of that takes research because it depends on what kind of system you're putting in. When we replaced ours, we went to all the research and they said, look, you don't need this much space if you're gonna go with one of these.
Yeah,
But
but
if
why
you just
still
go old
space them,
school, you
put it
gotta,
apart?
well, because, you know, you don't want your well in somebody else's.
It may
Well,
do,
your
it
well-
may do just the opposite. It may tell us that if they're not 5 acres, we're not gonna allow any development.
And I understand that. If you're wanting to limit your development, that's what it needs to say though. But I wouldn't space them 200 feet apart because all you're doing is putting burdens on these lot owners to put their septic in some wacky spot when they should put it in the best spot on the lot. And you're still getting a septic per system. It's not overloading the ground. That isn't why it's the spacing of the 200. I don't understand that. I've done hundreds of septic systems and I don't understand why you need to be 200 feet apart other than to limit building, but you're not gonna limit it. You're just gonna make them put them in weird spaces. If the county and the state allows 10-foot setbacks off the property, why would you be, and that's 10 and 10, that's 20 feet. Why would you ever go 200? I understand if it's 200 from a water source and want to protect it more than the state, but why would you make a system be 200 feet apart from another system when the state and the county's only 20 feet?
You know, that's, I mean, why, if the county, did the county change at, were they at 200, they changed it down? Or are they still, the county still at 200 separation?
Well,
It's been like that
came-
for a long time.
That, it came like this because of the 5 acre. If I turn that over and read this code, you're not gonna like it.
Okay, here we
What
go.
does it say?
Septic systems will only be allowed on parcels of land that are 5 acres or larger, and the property line is more than 300 feet from a sewer collection system. So our 200 feet was
Generous.
the kinder, gentler. If I turn the page over to number 4,
I've got a comment. I own the largest septic system in Wasatch County, and I also own a public water company on the same 160 acres. And I think that's ridiculous, just for the record. Because I deal with this every day, and he's not gonna have any problems. And neither's the person, I mean, I'm stuck with 3 wells on my property, and all of them, well, 2 of them are within 100 feet of that large system. And that's a shallow system, so it's wide. And I've got groundwater at 6 feet. And I have never had a bad water test in any of my wells, and they're tested monthly. I'm not sure what exactly are we worried about?
contamination of the water.
Of what water?
It's in the environmental quality, it's water quality.
This newer system.
And so
takes
it's-
us
so now-
days.
It does.
So what Eric's trying to say is, these are old lots that were recorded. The council acknowledged they were recorded earlier, and so those people had a right, because they're smaller than 5 acres, because that's the zone in 5 acres, so they have a right to have that lot. Now we're trying to help them be buildable, because they are, they don't meet the code. And so that's where we're going with it.
So we're trying to figure this out.
So if you have 4 septic systems on there, what does it matter, space them 300 feet or 50 feet? It doesn't change one bit of protecting your groundwater, not one thing.
I can agree with you,
Because they put them close, they put them
but,
close.
but this is the law.
Let me keep going.
This
because
is the code.
Now we have 2 different ones, we're arguing 2 different ones. Now let me read you number 5. The sewer septic system regulation found herein are in addition to any regulations set forth by Wasatch County Health Department. In the event of a conflict, the more stringent regulations shall control, subject to the discretion of the legislative body of the town of Daniel.
There you go.
You guys.
You get it.
Pressure's on you again.
That's you.
You guys.
But so the exact code says I'll be 200 feet from
It does.
any septic.
No septic system
Not
may be
from
constructed or otherwise
property line.
placed within 200 feet of any existing septic system.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's exactly what it says.
That's what it says.
That's.
And then the next one?
More concerning.
Septic systems will only be allowed on parcels of land that are 5 acres or larger, and the property line is more than 300 feet from a public sewer collection.
Well,
So-
That's the 300 feet of a public sewer.
Yeah.
That's why it's back here.
A little conflicting, is it?
2 parts of the code that,
Well, and I thought 100 foot would be fair and equitable, but if that's the case and that's not what the applicant wants to do, then it's in your hands, council. You'll have to decide.
So you're doing the 70 feet?
Or
Or,
he's 230 feet from the boundary,
From the property.
the property line.
He's 70 feet from the property line,
So
so 30 feet shy.
So after we brought this issue to their attention, they revised their site plan, they moved the house as far to the north as they could, and tried to get the septic as far away from the line as they could make it, but
The septic is doing.
they have 200 feet to work with at the property line, they have less than 200 feet where the septic goes, and to me, they've done what they can, but they, to minimize the impact on the neighboring lot, but we can't get 100 feet because the lot just isn't big enough. And we did say they were buildable lots.
No, we said they were lot of record. We never said they were buildable.
ever.
As a matter of fact, the law of record specifies this is not a guarantee of a building permit. Yeah, we said they were lot of records. That's what the council acknowledged. We never said they were buildable lots.
What's the town done so far in these situations, or have there ever been it?
We,
I'm thinking there have been.
Well, most of them have been the older lots that don't meet the requirements that we've kind of understood and brought in. Now this is an additional issue on top of bringing those kind of lots in and saying that they can.
yeah, I don't know that we've had an application where the septic system is within 100 feet of the property.
remember more. So I think it's come up on site plans, but it's always been something that could be fixed. So, I want to throw it over in the corner, well, I really, my reading of the code, that needs to be 100 feet, is okay, change it to 100 feet, and we've moved on. So this is the first time where it can't be moved.
Yeah, we run into these issues all the time with wells and septics. where you place your well, where you place your septic, and you worry about the other people, but that's what you do, you position in the best spot on the lot. So you've got a well, you've got a septic, the next guy can, the next guy can. If you want me to put it somewhere else on there, I will. Putting it big, long, and skinny down the center of the lot, I don't think wise at all. I think putting it up in that bottom little corner, the next guy can put his in the back of his yard like everybody does, the next guy can put his in the front or the back of their side of his as well. It does not limit anybody from building. It limits a third of his acre.
So we would probably be back here on the other two lots.
So how do we get
That's
that?
with regards to, so he's taking into consideration her septic. Wouldn't the next guy take into consideration his septic? And then he's making that step himself because he's trying to keep it in
And
line.
as that goes on, it becomes less and less
Right,
of an issue.
because of the encumbrance on the further property.
What about the piece of code that says you're not gonna put septic on less than 5 acres? Does that just go out the window? Is that what we're talking about here? We don't care about that, let's do this.
We're the legislative body, that's why you have to do it. That's why planning can.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure that we can just go do what you want.
Oh, you absolutely can.
We can override it.
To some extent, we gotta follow the
But
code,
it sets
guys, that's
precedents.
why we have the code.
That's true.
No, you have to decide if
For
you're
these
involved.
circumstances.
Yeah. But
When these were a lot of record,
That's why I can't make a decision on this, that's why it's back here.
yeah, and
I
people,
just, I can't.
So there was a
People
legal
buy
water record in the
these.
county, and then you guys accepted it, but now you're saying that it wouldn't be buildable by you guys owning it.
but then that's
That would be
the point that
Kinda
I'm
weird, huh?
seeing, or
taking.
a deal that where
It can
They
remain
bought-
what it's been all along.
No, I know, I'm just
a
saying.
lot
just
of
put it on the
record.
outside.
But then person buys that lot of record, and, okay, it's a lot of record, and ought to be able to put in a house.
You
Now,
can, meet the current code.
That lot of records 30 feet by 30 feet, you probably can't build on it. Or whatever
No,
else
because
causes
then that
it
won't
to
be
not be built
the restrictions on setbacks. And there again, then we're hitting the catch-22 on this.
And so this is the process, they come here, they don't like what you say, they can go to the Board of Adjustments, which is also a legislative body.
Yep.
And so they, and then from there to court. So, that's how the
And you
process
have an
works.
opening on that too.
Yes, we do.
And there's also the opportunity that we take time and address this issue in the code.
And I think
And
we
maybe
should.
we rethink it, and if it comes out that this is something we need to fix, and it gets fixed in their favor.
But that
Something
code
to
change
consider.
is gonna take an awful long time.
Yes, it will.
Take a year.
Yeah, oh, I understand that.
You don't wanna hear that.
No, the owners of the property won't. And you guys do what you want or here tonight, it's really not gonna affect me. I'm sure you've done other lots that are less than 5 acres throughout the town too. I would place this in the same spot as them. And then
Have we,
3,
Eric?
What's that?
Have we done other lots where we're worried about the septic tank and stuff like that?
No, you've done other lots that are less than 5 acres.
yes, you've done lots less than
That's
5
a septic
acres.
issue.
Yeah, you put
So
a septic.
it's just
tank
kind of
in
all
less than
now
5
at me at this one issue on this one lot. So if you've approved other lots before, they're less than 5 acres now.
Because there's
stop
one
it on
acre
my
lots.
No, there's a big difference. And this says no septic tank that's less than 5 acres.
Yeah, but you've done other
Done it
lots that are less than
before.
5.
I'd like to see those numbers.
Steiners,
Where are they at?
Mill Road and 3,000.
T, that house and land.
All of
So-
that
so
2 acre
who-
No,
lot.
that was an existing lot. That had a
That
house,
wasn't an existing septic.
they had to have a septic, there's never been any sewer out there.
No, they put in a new septic.
Yeah, but
They
there was
put
an
a new
existing,
house
there was
and a new septic.
but there was an existing septic on that
They
lot.
didn't use it.
And the
Well,
foundation, right?
sure.
And the foundation.
Existing septic.
Yeah, that was the, they didn't have a, though they did have a lot of record, but they also had the foundation. And so that's a different, this is a different use, this has been a lot, a field.
Just
And
like
now
the
we're
other,
getting-
the other 2 acre lots on down Mill Road, those septic on those.
Did you put a septic in on Lazenby's?
I did not, but the same guy that's doing this did, and the same thing. This is
How
like
big is their lot?
it's like a Same thing, an acre, a little over an acre.
That's would be existing house.
So I know we've redone houses on a lot of lots that are smaller. I'm trying to think of a new house we put on less than 5 acres, and I can't say there isn't one, but I'm not thinking of one off the top of my head.
Is the one that ended 3,000 on 5 acres? I thought that
No,
was
it's on an acre, but
That's
that's.
the one that had
That was a rebuild, okay.
Well, that's, yeah.
How long is that foundation there? Because usually you don't be grandfathered in when we're just saying that stuff doesn't gonna take effect.
They have a lot of record certificate too,
Oh,
so they have
it's-
other documentation.
So how places like this do you have in Daniels?
A lot.
So if, because it sounds like if you haven't set a precedent, like he's saying, well, you probably have done it before, so anybody, if you, whatever you do here, you're going to be setting the precedents for the others, it sounds like.
Well, it's not even a matter of that. We could change the code tonight and all new, without meet the new code.
That's true.
And so the code's changed, the uses change, that's not
If
gonna
we
be.
change the code, we have to go through the process of
Absolutely.
changing the code, correct?
Or make a decision.
Or make a decision, which is why it's here. I don't necessarily want to hold these folks up while we deal with their code. We saw how long it's been being, just like tonight. If the council wants them to approach the property owner, see how that goes. If that's not a burden on the second property.
I will definitely do or look at that, but I wouldn't hold somebody else's house up to the neighbor, because then he'd have to go to the next neighbor, and sooner or later, one neighbor's not gonna wanna sign a paper, the other one, I just don't think that's gonna solve your problems of the neighbor. I think
The
you
two
gotta
lots
look,
belong to the same guy.
you gotta look at it as where else would you have me put it that's a better place? I mean, I've done basically everything I can do on that lot to miss the other septic and to maximize the other one. And what I think you guys ought to do is rewrite your code and not have them space every 200 feet.
But be careful what you wish for, because it takes an awful long time, so if you want
After tonight.
clarification.
Yeah, I just don't see that. I think it was meant to do something else. I don't think it was meant to space each system 200 feet down the center of each lot, because that's not doing the good that you need. I think it was there to either make the size of your lot or do something, but I think it's taken effect for some other reason here. I don't see why it would be spaced 200 feet apart. I don't see the gain in it.
The reason they did the 5 acres was the water quality,
Yes, yep.
like was brought up. You've got, how close was your septic?
Well, it was all county specs, so it's
100 feet.
10
from
feet
water.
off the, I mean, this is a huge drain field, so it probably takes up 5 acres. And the wells are within 100 feet.
And it's taken several houses.
You get close, the well will never go dry.
Recycling it.
No, I mean, that comment is not founded.
Oh, it is, because I have a well on that end, and so I hope everybody upstream is flushing, or I run out of water.
Well, like I said, I test the water once a month, and I've never had a bad test in 20 years. So,
Yeah, but you know that water's getting back in the water table, that's what this is
now,
on.
you look at the drill logs and you decide, and you can make an educated decision if that's where you want to go. Because you've got X amount of limestone, you're gonna have cobbles for 25 feet, and in my case, you've got 125 feet of limestone, it ain't gonna happen. But I don't know what it is in his place, but I think you've got, in Daniels, all the houses on 6th East were built to counties. Mine, the one next to me, the one next to that, and down on the corner, they're all the same thing. They were all 2.5 acres. And they all have, I think they were all designed at the same time, or pretty close. And so they are.
Yeah, back when the zoning was less,
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
the county changed it after all these got put in for the reasoning that people must have.
Well, for the same reason that we're doing what we're doing. They plagiarized codes from other areas.
Did they what?
Plagiarized codes, which is how we get all our codes, by the way. So that's where all this comes from, is you find something that looks like it'll work and you put it in. I mean, I do code analysis, and I'm a consultant for 3 jurisdictions. I do Wasatch County Electrical, I do Summit County Electrical, and I do Park City Electrical. I investigate fires, and I read codes all the time. That's what I do. And what you find is all this stuff is poorly written because it's just stolen from somewhere else. So they take it from somewhere, we put it in, and what that means is it's your responsibility to act when you find a mistake. And that means you have to do what you're doing right now. You have to analyze and you have to find out what's going on. And if you're gonna allow this guy to build, I mean, obviously, this is an on condition, but my original lot is the same. The one next to me is the same. And my experience with septic systems are necessary, they're an evil, I won't even say that, they work real well, because I've lived with them for a long time, everywhere I've been. And we don't have water problems. I mean, you do your perk test, you let his brother design it, it'll be fine. It'll work, and it'll work forever.
What I'm gonna ask is that the council look at the situation where I'm at here, and I've never heard anything about that fire until just right now tonight. That wasn't brought up until this very instant, that was even on review. So you look at the situation of the house that's there, the house where it's being placed, and you look at this as a buildable lot. Whether it was a buildable lot in the county and then it got annexed into Daniels, I would have assumed that you would not have taken that building right away. I don't know if that's called a taking or something, when you downgrade or something, but that's what I feel that would have into that lot. I don't know if that's into consideration or not, that we put the septic system in the best spot that it can be, considering the one that's there, the house that's there, and the position of the other lots around it. I don't know what else more I could do, or anybody could do. And I do think that 200 foot is extreme. It is not on a water quality issue, or then it would be X amount of systems for X amount of acres. It wouldn't be the spacing of it. Because like he says, they do have huge systems that do 10 houses. They have one system that does one house. And I'm about 400 feet from the nearest well. As far as I know, all these other homes will be on Daniels water, so there won't be a well on those, or it probably wouldn't work with your septic and wells throughout it. But I ask you, don't shut down.
Possibility, maybe.
Of what?
Possibility that it wouldn't work with the wells, but there's no
Yeah.
wells that was hooked up.
Exactly, every 200, 100 feet would be there, but it's not the water quality issue, it's a matter of spacing and fitting on the lot, what it's designed, but I would think we could approve this through here tonight on your guys' judgment and call where to put it and what to do with it, and not hold these guys up for 6 months while you figure out, but I'm thinking in the end, you will figure out a way to make those lots work and to work with your residents or buyers that have bought these lots and want to build and be part of the Daniels. I don't think you're going to say, we're going to take these lot rights away from you, you're not going to ever build on here. I don't think that's going to be the outcome. So I'd like to work through what you want me to do tonight to approve this, and then if you need to figure something out for the future guys, but not to hold this guy up for 5 or 6 months.
So he's got a point. So what, in your opinion, could he do to get a yes tonight? Even for an override of the 5 acres that's already in the code?
Well, I thought to be equitable, the 100 feet away from the property line would allow it to go through. And I actually would have signed that, it would have went through, based on being equitable. I think if you're impacting another lot, we have an issue. Brian, this is gonna be a technical question. Can that septic be designed in such a way that it's within that 100 feet?
No.
Okay.
Yes, it can.
So I drew a 100-foot line around the property line, and it leaves a little tiny triangle right in the middle of the house. It's the only thing that's 100 feet from all the property lines.
No, but can you lengthen the drain field instead of a square?
Oh,
Can you
yes.
design something that will be within 100 feet from the property line?
And that's what I'm saying. Yes, you can make this longer and narrower, absolutely. But what I'm saying is, I haven't found, if I get it 100 feet away from the property line we're discussing, it's within 100 feet of the other property line.
In the current design?
Well, I just threw out the design, I took the lot and started drawing circles. And I can't,
Yeah, the
anyway.
shape of the lot, if it's only 200 feet, there's no way you can put out here.
But we go 200 feet from her septic, not from the property line.
Yeah, but 100 feet from the property line, if you go down the middle, you're 100 each way here, and then it gets narrower.
Right.
So you can't put a single line down there and meet that requirement.
I would have to look, I guess, at where hers is, but if hers is 200 or
True.
180 away, then that would be.
Yeah, but what Eric's saying is it should be 100 feet away from the property line, so you have the same impacts, because she may need to put in a new septic tank, and they want to move it over from where the existing one was.
So can the drain field be underneath the lawn?
And so I guess,
I mean, our neighbor's got that.
And then their revised design.
Ryan,
Right.
is there any reason for that 200-foot separation? Like,
No,
is that
that's the
county?
problem.
I believe it went back to the pristine aquifer status that, I don't know that we have.
Okay, well, is that gonna make a difference if you have 2 septic tanks per, say, 4 acres, guessing on these lots? Is it gonna make a difference to the aquifer if the 2 are here or the 2 are here?
I think that's an unfair question to Ryan right now.
Okay.
I think he has that in his brain.
As an engineer, he can't expect to be a textbook.
I can make the argument either way, but off the top of my head, I would say no. I don't think it's gonna make much difference in this area. If the groundwater was shallow, it could.
You got 2 other excavator guys in here that don't have a dog in the fight, you could ask them.
I think
There's a difference between an excavator and an engineer.
There is. But Tracy at the county that does the whole entire county's
Probably
things,
knows what they're doing.
that allows within 10 feet of any property line, and we're 200. I can understand if you wanted a 50 or something a little above and beyond, but 200 from 10 feet is pretty.
Well, I know tonight, I can't make that decision because I haven't had any research presented to me. And so I'm unable to say that right now.
Could be based upon you guys talking to Tracy or the county.
Oh,
about
I'm
that.
certainly open to discussing more, but the code says 5-acre lot, there's no septic. Do I not follow that? And do I say, go ahead and build? You see the situation I'm in?
No, I see. I just thought it was a building lot and you guys accepted it.
I understand.
Yeah, so if it was a building lot in the county, then you take it in now, it's not buildable.
Well, now, if it was a building lot in the county, then that's a different thing. But I think what we're saying is it's a lot of record in the county and not necessarily a buildable lot. And there's a difference there.
if there was a letter from Tracy.
No, the law's the law, for me.
But you guys can
Let's
look at
change
that
it.
tonight and decide on that, right?
What's that?
You can look at that 5-acre deal tonight and you can decide if that was.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
But I think we could do some research, I think we could look into it, I think we could address the code, but it won't happen tonight.
Changing code and overriding code, it's the rule. It's taken a year and a half just to even deal with the home occupation code, let alone change that 200 feet, which you may very well may be right about. But we just can't blindly blow off stuff because the next person, well, you blew it out for him, you blew it out for him. But that's why we sit here and mull things over.
I see this code change much quicker than home occupations.
Maybe.
Well, I think we get some research and read some articles and
Yeah, but without
understand.
a soil sample and know
Sure.
what you're.
We need to do what we do.
So how do we make it as official and equitable?
That was what the 100-foot was that I
That
suggested.
you suggested.
That's correct.
If that 100 feet doesn't work for him, the question then would be, is it buildable or not?
I would say that it's still buildable, but the septic's not acceptable. So you can't get a building permit until the septic's approved.
And in this case, we can't seem to determine if they can possibly, if the septic tank can be designed smaller.
I don't know, he seems to think he can, so if my direction to the council would be, tell him 100 feet and have him go design it for 100 feet and let him build.
And just forget about the 5 acres.
Because you've been equitable with both those lots.
I disagree.
Well, we didn't disagree when we allowed the lots to be a lot. So we've been to rules
But we
in,
didn't.
and so there's
No,
still,
because they came in as the county that way.
we have to decide if we accept the law of
Yeah.
record from the county. We're under no obligation.
And we did that, we accepted everybody.
No, we didn't.
Name one we didn't.
The one we're at the court in right now,
Which one's that? Oh,
Yeah.
this one here?
yes.
But that was a discontinued, that's a different piece, I think.
That's a 3-acre parcel he wants to build on, and we said absolutely not.
Yeah. And why?
Because he doesn't have a lot of record certificate.
Okay. And now we're saying this guy's got a lot of record, but he doesn't meet the code, so we'll let him build.
No, we're trying to decide on that.
Yeah, that's what we're saying though. That's what, if we approve that, that's what we're saying.
That's what you're saying.
We don't care what this code says. We're gonna let this guy build.
No, we care what it says, but we're being equitable.
I don't know what equitable means.
Fair.
Fair.
I don't know that that's fair. Are you saying that our law's unfair?
I'm saying that those two lots, no, our law is fair if you have 5 acres. But we made an exception on this to allow the county's lot of records to move forward. And so we said they are lot of records. Now, our code specifically states that it's a lot of record, does not guarantee a building permit.
Yeah.
And so now we're at that point. How can you get a building permit on this parcel? And as a legislative body, you can make it fair and equitable and let him build on that lot.
And I'd bring up what Eric said, you remember the road that we took so many months on to get that house
Yeah.
back in there?
Mhm.
I mean, you know, we looked at every option and it took quite a while, went to planning and things, but, you know.
It was done right.
It ended up working.
We changed code, we discussed it, we did a lot of analysis on it, and it was changed right, and he got his home built.
And where is this code?
Well, he's got permission to start doing stuff.
What's that?
Where is this code?
I'm sorry?
What is the number?
It's in Environmental Regulations 82803.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
That's
so,
why I left it open, I knew somebody would ask.
Thanks.
I read this book way too much.
okay, so we've had this discussion, any more discussion, any from the public would like to make any comment about this?
I think that you're focusing on, I don't even know most of the people in here, I have no idea who this guy even is. But I think he made a comment in the fact to where there's a clear mistake that the 200 feet has been adopted by you guys, which was adopted by somebody else. The mistake here is the 200 feet. It's tough for somebody when they say, if you were to be a few thousand yards away in the county, they wouldn't even be talking about this. So when you say, oh, water quality or this, and it's like, no, the county's very concerned with water quality. But if this lot was in the county, I don't know how far it'd have to move, this discussion wouldn't be even, you wouldn't even be having this. You wouldn't be having it in Summit County, you wouldn't be having it in Salt Lake County, you wouldn't be having it in Utah County. So the mistake is the 200 feet. He's legally, I think, meeting that. I think you should come back and say, okay, we're proving that, and before lot number 2 gets in here, you better start changing the code to say, okay, like, because it doesn't say 100 feet around there from property line. So 200 feet, I would say, this guy, to where it's like, you mean you're 200 feet, your next phone call is your lawyer. And it's like, why in the heck would you have to do that? You guys can solve it right now.
I think that's a pretty easy phone call to answer, Joe. 5 acres, 70.
But that's not what you came in about.
Well, that's what the code says now.
I know, but you're changing that to him.
I'm changing what?
What was on the agenda? Did Ryan come in here saying, hey, this guy doesn't have 5 acres, let's...
No, this was just Jen Sue's building permit.
So all of this comes, we're not just looking at one little thing. Does he meet this? Can he build a thing there? We're looking at all the code. And so if we were to get sued, I think you'd have a really hard time beating that code that says 5 acres are in a septic tank.
So was he told he could build if he
No,
met
he was
that
not told
criteria?
he could build.
Yeah,
If
you're
he
right.
met the criteria of the septic?
Sure, if you meet the code, you can build.
Okay, so the 5 acres doesn't matter because you just told him if he met the code, he could
Okay, the
build.
code says 5 acres. Did he meet the code?
No, the septic
Okay,
code.
then.
But the code...
You didn't
of
tell
law
him the
was
5
already
acres,
set
you
across.
said the septic. If the septic
No,
code matched,
no.
right?
We said you have a building, you can get a building permit if you meet the code.
But the code has a discrepancy, because somewhere in that code, if you adopted it from the county, it does allow for lots of record.
Okay, hope you can find it. Hope you can find it where we can make this a building permit and get it done. That would be awesome. That'd be great.
Well, it's in there somewhere.
Well, I'm confused. I'm with John. I think a lot of record is totally different than a buildable lot. I mean, anybody can have a lot of record, but it's not guaranteeing you to be able to build on that house unless you have a buildable lot record showing that you had a house on it or whatever. Is that correct? Is a lot of record mean you have all free agency to just build and do what you want?
No.
You're correct in that it does not guarantee a buildable house.
As I say, and I
Our
thought,
understanding.
yeah.
So
So
that's
that's,
the part I'm confused about is why did they have him doing the septic and figuring the spaces if it wasn't assumed he could build it if that septic made it? I mean, you stopped it because the septic wasn't equitable, right?
Right, they've applied for a permit, I found a problem with the permit, so we haven't issued a permit, and so I brought it back to the council.
But the problem you found was in
The
the
septic.
200 feet, not in the 5 acres.